Yeah, they are Amalek. That's what Kahanist in the Jewish idea. They are Amalek, and we all know what we're commanded to do to Amalek. No mercy, no sympathy, no empathy, no peace. Eternal war with Amalek until they're wiped out. In fact, we have to be more zealous than them, more fanatical.
Exactly.
And guess what? Why can't we do what they do? They attack our synagogues.
Right.
Why can't we do an eye for an eye? Ayin tachat ayin. Ayin tachat ayin. That's what we say in Hebrew. Okay? And, I hate to say it because this is going to get us in trouble, but right about now, we need a couple thousand Baruch Goldsteins. That's what we really need, because anything, Kahanist said, there is nothing that can't be done to save Jewish lives. And
Amen.
And the Talmud says, the rabbis in the Talmud say, when you know someone is coming to kill you, you get up early in the morning and you kill him first. You don't wait until the gun is at your head. You don't wait until the knife is at your throat. We don't have to wait. Now, we're on the Jewish Defense League. But I think it's time to go on the offense. I don't want to sit back and wait. It's time for revenge. Okay? And,
sweet Jewish revenge.
Yeah.
Also need to call out true radicalism. Laura Loomer, who has a press pass to the Pentagon, yesterday said we need more Meir Kahanis, the founder of the Jewish Defense League, who was a convicted terrorist. I'm not throwing this around he's a terrorist. He was literally a terrorist.
Correct.
He was murdered in 1990, but under U.S. law, he was a terrorist. He admitted he was convicted twice for bombing people. He admitted he did it. So he was exactly what we say we're fighting against. He was a terrorist, killing innocents to make a political point or achieve a political end. And here you have Laura Loomer endorsing him openly. You've Lindsey Graham saying on tape, if you don't do what Israel wants, God will kill you. You have Mike Huckabee saying exactly the same thing. America will be destroyed unless we follow the lead of Benjamin Netanyahu. This is true extremism. This is what I didn't like about ISIS. It's what I disapproved of with Al-Qaeda. It's why I don't like jihadis. I really don't like any of that. No American should. And all of a sudden, it's flowering in our country. And these are not small people. Mike Huckabee is the U.S. ambassador to Israel. Lindsey Graham is the senior senator from South Carolina. Laura Loomer is all over the executive branch as an advisor. You can't have this. You have to say that this is wrong. It's getting too crazy. We're going to wind up with real violence if people keep talking.
Shalom, I'm Chaim Ben Pesach from the Jewish Task Force, JTF. On this week's program, we're going to talk about how the anti-Semite Vice President J.D. Vance, and he is an anti-Semite, has now appointed the Nazi Tucker Carlson's son to his staff to show how he supports Tucker Carlson and he's aligned with the Nazi Tucker Carlson. We're going to discuss the implications of that. Jews better wake up fast. We're going to be speaking about the JDL. We may be speaking about, if you want to go into it, we'll be speaking about bombings and an underground movement and a movement that did things that were illegal but were necessary to save Soviet Jews and to because in the end over 1 million Soviet Jews are now in Israel because of this. And I could give you quotes from Jewish leaders admitting that it was the JDL that did that. But we're going to be speaking about some very violent. The anti-Semite J.D. Vance, who hates Jews with all his heart and soul. Make no mistake about that. This anti-Semite has now appointed Buckley Carlson, who is Tucker Carlson's son, to his staff. Remember, the Nazi Tucker Carlson invites Nick Fuentes, who says that he loves Hitler, and who says that Hitler is very, very cool, and who says that he wants to be, and who aspires to be another Hitler, invites an open Nazi on his program and praises him, and they had a love fest there, the two Nazis, Tucker Carlson and Nick Fuentes. And Vice President J.D. Vance responds to all of this by defending Tucker Carlson, supporting Tucker Carlson, and by showing how much he agrees with Tucker Carlson and supports him, that he actually put Tucker Carlson's son now his son Buckley Carlson on his staff. He's now the new deputy press secretary for the vice president. And J.D. Vance said that Jews who criticize Buckley Carlson are scumbags. He didn't say just Jews. He said anyone who criticizes Buckley Carlson, who is just like his father, by the way. No difference in views with him and his father. And he says that anyone who criticizes this Nazi is a scumbag. This is from J.D. Vance. J.D. Vance is a real scumbag. He's a real scumbag. And J.D. Vance says that Jews are manipulative. He said, we don't allow, they're manipulative, but they can't manipulate this president. In other words, Donald Trump, they're not able to get around him. But they said the manipulative things that took place in the past, they can't do that with Donald Trump. He also said, well, we have big differences with the Jews. The Jews don't believe in our Messiah. This is what he said. This is actually what he said. We believe in our Messiah, and the Jews don't believe in our Messiah. In other words, the thing that he hates about the Jews, the real thing he hates about the Jews, is that they're not Christians. And he hates them for that. J.D. Vance is no less a Jew hater than the worst Democrats. And he's no less a Jew hater than Tucker Carlson and Buckley Carlson, his new deputy press secretary, and Nick Fuentes. They all agree. They want Jews dead. And if J.D. Vance becomes president, it will be no less dangerous to the Jewish people than if a Democrat becomes president. And J.D. Vance is very, very likely to get the Republican presidential nomination. It's very, very difficult to defeat a sitting vice president for his own party's nomination. Very, very hard to do that. I mean, you could go way back and see all the vice presidents that ran, and the polls show he is the overwhelming favorite with 50, 60-point leads over all the other possible contenders, over people like Ron DeSantis or Ted Cruz or other possible contenders. By the way, Ted Cruz, Ron DeSantis, Senator Tom Cotton of Arkansas, those are three people who would be great presidents who support Israel and support the Jewish people and who would bring a blessing on America. J.D. Vance, who is Tucker Carlson's ideological twin, will bring curses on America. He curses Israel. Whatever he curses Israel with will happen to him and to America if America elects him. And the same thing is true for the Democrats. They also will bring curses on America. Certainly the Democrats are no better, that's for sure. They're also a bunch of Nazi Jew haters. And why do I say Nazis? Because anyone who wants the Jewish people exterminated, who wants Israel overrun and wants another Holocaust against the Jewish people, that's Nazism. That's a Nazi. Okay? You don't have to be a member of the Nazi party in Germany to be a Nazi, just like you don't have to be a member of the Communist Party under Lenin and Trotsky and Stalin to be a communist. If you support communism, if you support the concepts of communism, you're a communist. If you support the concept of exterminating the Jewish people, which was the main obsession and the main plank of Nazism, then you're a Nazi. And that J.D. Vance does. He wants that. He's with Tucker Carlson now, and with Tucker Carlson's son, and with Nick Fuentes, that's what he supports. And so you can forget about America supporting Israel unless something very surprising happens 3 years from now in the next presidential election. Unless something surprising happens that prevents I almost said Tucker Carlson getting the nomination. That's in effect what we're seeing here. That prevents J.D. Vance, who is like Tucker Carlson. Unless something very surprising happens and he doesn't get the nomination, forget about it. America will be against Israel. It doesn't matter which party wins. America will work to hurt and harm and undermine and destroy Israel every which way possible. Shalom. I'm Chaim Ben Pesach, and this video is dedicated to Ilui Neshamot, elevating of the souls for Sharon Mitman, Malka Bat Meir, Allegra Bat Shlomo, and David Ben Avraham. We are commemorating the yortzeit of Moreinu Verabbeinu Harav Meir David Kahana, Zecher Tzaddik V'Kadosh Livraha Hashem Yikom Damo, our teacher and our Rabbi, Meir David Kahana. May the memory of this saint be immortalized, and may God avenge his blood. And we're going to discuss one topic in particular that was very important to Rabbi Kahana that's not discussed enough. And that was Rabbi Kahana's view, which is the view of Judaism, authentic Torah Judaism. And we saw what the JDL was doing, what our beloved leader, Harab Meir Kahana, Zecher Tzaddik V'Kadosh Livracha, which means may his memory be immortalized, may Hashem Yikom Damo, may God avenge his blood. Rabbi Kahana, when I saw what he was doing for Soviet Jewry, I felt that I had to become involved. I had to become part of that movement when I saw what he was doing, so that we would not be silent again, as we were when 6 million Jews were murdered. And so I'm a 14-year-old kid, and I go to the JDL office on New Utrecht Avenue in Borough Park to sign up and to join. And Rabbi Kahana was there. He was in the office when I was there, and he calls me over to him. And I was shocked. I'm a 14-year-old kid. He's calling over. I couldn't believe it. He wants to speak to me. He said, "Do you really want to help Soviet Jews?" And I said, "Of course. That's why I'm joining." He said, "There's something very important you can do because of your age." He asked me how old I was, and he said, "There's something very important because of your young age that you can do that our older members can't do." And he wanted me to go into the Leningrad Ice Follies. Leningrad Ice Follies was a program the Soviets brought here to tell Americans how cultured. They didn't even check me, nothing, because they see this 14-year-old kid. Not only that, I saw online a group of tourists from Ohio who were going there. And I went in with the tourists from Ohio, even went in and I even went in and joined the picture that they were in, as if I was one of the tourists from Ohio, so the police would see and the FBI would see, oh, he's one of the kids from Ohio. You know.
Nice.
And I got in, and they played the Soviet national anthem, and I got up and I ran up on the stage and I broke open the bag and threw the marbles on the ice. And the main ice skater at that time, their main ice skater, fell when he tripped and sprained his ankle when he saw the marbles being. The marbles didn't cause that, because the marbles are not going to cause that when you're ice skating, but he obviously was there. They all were very nervous, and they were terrified when they saw me do that. They were terrified because the JDL at that time had a reputation as being an organization that bombs things, and that the reputation of JDL was such that the Soviets and Russians in the United States were terrified of the JDL, and even the police were afraid of the JDL.
From everything that I hear, they were all scared. They were running scared, shaking in their boots, you could say. And even today.
Shalom, I'm Chaim Ben Pesach from the Jewish Task Force JTF, and this panel that you're going to see is sponsored by two organizations, by the Jewish Task Force JTF and by JDL 613. Our subject this week is an important subject. Who causes more anti-Semitism? We're in for a very, very rough time here, and people had better wake up, and better wake up fast, because I think there's a very, very dangerous. I think a very dangerous situation. I've never seen this level of anti-Semitism in the United States. In my 69 years in this world, I'm 69 years old. I have never seen this type of anti-Semitism in the United States. Not this degree of anti-Semitism. I mean, this is really, really growing to levels that should be alarming to anyone who understands anything about Jewish history.
How has the legacy of the JDL and Rabbi Kahana been misrepresented or misunderstood in the media and historical accounts?
Well, everything that the media says about it is a lie. I mean, it's just because everything they say about Israel is a lie.
Yeah.
And now I'm involved with the Jewish Task Force, with JTF, which people should also get involved with. Jewish Task Force JTF is involved with the Hilltop Youth in Israel. The Hilltop Youth are the Jewish heroes of Israel, who are preventing a Palestinian terrorist state from coming into being in Judea and Samaria, which would be national suicide for Israel. If the Hilltop Youth weren't there, a Palestinian state would come into being. They would take over all of Judea and Samaria very quickly, and there would be a Palestinian state. The only people blocking that are the heroic Hilltop Youth. I had sanctions.
Did you?
You want to see? But let me see if I still have them here. Wait, I might have them here. I had sanctions. The sanctions were put on me.
Jeez.
Yeah, no, they were going to. If
Was that
Trump
for-
hadn't been elected, I probably would have been indicted. Here, this is from the Department of the Treasury, notifying
Oh, wow.
me that I'm under criminal investigation because
Wow.
of my support for the Hilltop Youth. For the Hilltop Youth, who are just trying to settle the land of Israel. I mean, this is.
Hey guys, I have some incredibly exciting news to share, and I just have to thank you guys because of all of you who voted in the World Zionist Congress election. I have officially been elected as one of the 152 U.S. delegates to the World Zionist Congress. I will be representing the Asia Am slate. So this October, I will be flying to Jerusalem to take my seat at Theodore Herzl's table. For those of you who don't know, the World Zionist Congress was founded by Theodore Herzl in 1897, before the modern state of Israel existed. It was his vision to bring Jews from across the world together to democratically debate, imagine that, to decide the future of the Jewish people and the Jewish homeland. It is quite literally the parliament of the Jewish people. It still exists, it still meets, and it still holds very real power. This Congress oversees how hundreds of millions of dollars are allocated to the global Jewish community. For me personally, this moment, this honor, this responsibility means absolutely everything. You guys know I've dedicated my life to fighting anti-Semitism, so to be elected to have a seat at Herzl's table, to be a part of shaping the future that he dreamed of, is so deeply emotional for me, especially now when we are in this global crisis of anti-Semitism. It is the same type of crisis that caused Herzl to found this Congress in the first place. What we're facing right now, open hostility towards Jews in New York City, people like Saram Mamdani, who supports Hamas, who wants to erase Israel from the map, who just might be our next mayor. It is terrifying. The World Zionist Congress and the modern state of Israel was Herzl's answer to this problem back then, and it is just as important today because every Jewish life is on the line, being targeted in one way or another. And the World Zionist Congress gives us a voice. It gives us power and resources to do something. I'm so beyond grateful to be given this platform. I will be walking into that room in Jerusalem in October, carrying your voices because this is our fight. And I just want to thank you for trusting me. Let's do this. Hey guys, Shavua Tov. So I spent all of Shabbos thinking about something that Prime Minister Netanyahu said to me yesterday, which is that if we see our success as rooting out global anti-Semitism, as convincing the world of the truth about Israel, that the Jewish people have a right to self-determination in their ancestral homeland, we will always feel like failures because it's never going to happen. This is our story. This is what it means to be Jewish. Prime Minister Netanyahu said yesterday, in every generation, they rise up against us. This is a quote from the Haggadah. It is not our job to cure anti-Semitism. It is not our job to get rid of all of our enemies because every time that we get rid of one, another one pops up. Our job is to fight each threat as it comes and to survive. Every time that the Jewish people survive another threat, survive another day, that is a victory. I've been feeling so demoralized that this change in perspective was exactly what I needed to hear. It is just my job, your job, to get up every day and fight the threats as they come and to know that this is what it means to be Jewish. You know what? Frankly, I'm so sick and tired of seeing Prime Minister Netanyahu be scapegoated by non-Jews and also by Jews, taking out all of their anger on him. Literally, there's not a problem in the world that this man is not blamed for. And let me tell you something, if there was another leader in power, they would be getting the blame too. People are like, oh, all these countries get up and walk out when Prime Minister Netanyahu takes the stage at the UN. Guess what? That happens every year. It's not because of him. It is because of what he represents, because he is the leader of the only Jewish state in the world. And that is why the whole world is against him. We need to stand behind him because he is a hero and he understands the strength that it takes to survive another day. And that is exactly what our job is right now. Am Yisrael Chai. We were at the cemetery and we were talking about where we wanted to be buried. And, you know, this is such a crazy conversation to have. I just turned 40. I'm not planning on dying for 80 more years, God willing.
Exactly.
But I was like, you know what? I want to be buried in Israel because I went on the Holocaust tours in Poland and I visited.
And you saw what happened to the graves there.
Well, and I visited my ancestors and I don't want my progeny to have to come to a ghost town where Jews used to live to be able to pay their respects to me and to see where I'm buried. I want to be where the future is. And I just don't know if that's America. I think that the future is here in Israel.
You know, I'm American. I was born in Florida. I made Aliyah when I was 9 years old. And for me to hear what you're saying and to see what's actually happening makes me so sad, because I always thought that America is a safe place for Jews forever.
Everyone did.
I never
We were very
believed-
naive.
A few years ago, when things started getting really bad in Israel, I even went with my kids and I got them American passports, citizenship. And I never thought that actually the only safe place for Jews is Israel.
This is the only place. And I think that's what Golda Meir meant when she said that we Jews have a secret weapon. We have nowhere else to go.
Yes.
This is it. This
That's
is home.
why we need to fight, and that's why you're doing everything you're doing, not getting paid for.
100%. And, for me, as much as it's important to fight anti-Semitism, the most important priority to me as a Jewish person is protecting and securing the state of Israel. Because this is, I don't even like to use the term insurance policy, because I need Israel. I think it was Elie Wiesel who said, as a Jew, I need Israel. I don't need to live here, but I cannot live as a Jew without Israel. The Jewish people without Israel cannot exist in a safe way in this world. And that is why Theodore Herzl founded the World Zionist Congress. And that is why I'm doing everything in my power to protect Israel.